Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have Liam Kelly here, who's going to give us some nice, play some nice music on the pipes, and he's going to be backed up by Andy before we get the show on the road. Okay?
Go on then.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Bhfuil dá dul sé búla bos den rachtaí an seo ag seint doing mar rinne do storja an túsa for leis líhe sin Liam Kelly an Saturday night. I'd like to thank Liam Kelly and Andy Lambert for setting a bit of atmosphere to begin the evening here. This is a very important evening for, first of all, we are situated here. Outside we have the pale moon has risen, behind us the sun is set, and in between we've got the proud chamber pot. Talk about the cycle of life. The chamber pot being an integral part of the cycle of life. I'd like to begin by congratulating Mick, Lacey and Lucia Tripepi for this wonderful work. It's really a very revealing, very well produced, very good quality publication, and for that I would like to congratulate a gentleman who is here with us this evening and who will speak shortly, and that's Dominic Taylor, the publisher with Limerick Writers' Centre. Now, you say, once this is a new departure, by the way, for the Writers' Centre in Limerick, the idea of a publication that's in illustrated form. And the collaboration that took place between Mick, Lacey and Lucia Tripepi, this particular book is the result of that. I would say, having dealt with many publications over the years, this will certainly be a very unique publication that will become a collector's item, most certainly. We talk about comics and we talk about cartoons and all of that, and we have to realise that they actually possess a lot more depth than just being there to entertain us. Of course they are a means of entertainment, because a lot of very serious messages can be put through in comic form and cartoon form in an entertaining way. And also comics can be used as a means of instruction, and very often are used as introducing young people to develop an interest in reading, which will move on then to other publications in their lives. So for this reason I think that they serve a very important role, and they convey a message, or they might reveal a value about living life to us. There's always a message in comic books. There's always a message in them. And that's important for us to realise that it's not just some silly notion, like when you think of all the characters that we remember ourselves from comics that we have read over the years, the heroes that we worship, the heroines, very important in the comic world. The heroine, the woman, is very, very strong often as the leader. And that's something good to see about the depiction of women in comics. They're often very strong and very central characters, which is a good thing too. Also, they're creative, they're fun, but it doesn't mean that the serious topics are not dealt with. That's really illustrated here as well in this work. It can also transpose us, which it does here, to a different world, which is sometimes seems rather crazy, but yet remains charming, or draws us in, or creates an interest in us, or excites an interest in us. Also in this work, I can see that there's a lot of psychological undercurrent in it, in the interplay between the characters. You have illustrations of the pride before the fall, you know, in that encounter when they're slamming the window and the poor chamber pot and jam pot fall off and they're shattered into pieces. But there is a revival. Also, you even have the element of snobbery amongst chamber pots, which is something unusual. That's illustrated as well by the fact that some people have very fancy chamber pots under the bed and some just have a plain old bucket. But that's used to illustrate another value in life, because it shows us how little the heroine thinks of the doctor who comes along and kicks the old pot under the bed to work out, have this crowd got money or not, to decide to what extent he needs to control his greed, which is very interesting. So even kicking an old chamber pot under the bed can tell an awful lot about the character who kicks the pot. And I think that the comics are a form and illustration and cartoons. They're all really the same genre in different expressions of them. They're all here to inspire us and help us avoid boredom. We also have, you know, Helaine, that great character. And Helaine and the love affair with the jam pot is just, or Helaine and the love affair with the boy, or the young man who brings the jam, their love affair is just as lively and just as real as the love affair between the chamber pot and the jam pot. But maybe because of the juxtaposition of the two, it allows us to demonstrate things in a way that make them less difficult to cope with. And I think that's very, very well done in this work. Again, written by Mick, Lacey and illustrated by Lucia Tripepi, there are very, very many interesting moments in it, and it's just the way it's written and presented at times. It's so funny. I thought it was very interesting, for example, that this main proponent, Helaine, we're told, was an abbreviation of porcelain, and that kind of wit comes through the work, and it's very, very, very good. Also, you know, you learn that not all chamber pots are female, some of them are male as well. And again, there we are opened up to a world that says, you know, these chamber pots could be people too. And that is something, you know, we're also, the various characters that are described in it, you know, especially the chambermaid who was so meticulous about the work that she does and how well she does her work, it, you know, shows this is a really good character, and that when she falls in love with the jam deliverer, let's say, we have great empathy with her, and we can see it evolving, and we can see that, and at the same time the relationship between the chamber pot and the jam pot is evolving on the windowsill after they've been given their daily wash out, and one is smelling beautifully of the redolent flavours of various jams, and the other smelling of the gorgeous perfumes that are used in washing out the pot so it's ready for the next guest who arrives at the hotel. So I think myself that it's very magical, very interesting. The illustration is absolutely superb. The quality of the publication is really high. It is a publication, as I said earlier, that I am convinced will become a collector's item. I also think for the way in which it has been tied in with the festival here, and the characters like Willie who are mentioned in it, and the way it's tied in with the observation of the lads attending the festival, and that it really does make it very real. And certainly it does Lisdoonvarna proud as well, because of that inclusion in an important work like this. And of course we all have met the horrible character like the hotel manager who's a dreadful woman altogether, and who just keeps bullying the staff really, and as a result of that one's bullying, the poor old chamber pot and the jam pot end up in smithereens on the ground. But I won't tell you the end of the story about the wonderful magical powers of the gypsy lady who gets all the pieces that have been dumped in a paper bag and manages to unite them all and to make of all these things one again. So not only have you the marriage of the chambermaid and the deliverer of the jam, you also have the marriage or fusion of the debris of the two jars, and they purchase them at the fair from the gypsy and take them home and keep them all together in their new home which they have set up. So that gives you an idea of what the chamber pot is all about. I congratulate Mick on very, very imaginative and creative writing, and it is storytelling in the real old tradition on paper. And I also congratulate the foresight of Limerick Writers' Centre and Dominic Taylor in producing a work of this quality. There will be an interval after the launch during which the copies will be available for sale at €12 and will be available for signing before we start the concert itself. And also it's €12 a copy, or if you want to purchase 2 copies because you want to give somebody a gift of it for Christmas or for any other time, then it will be €20 for 2 copies. I would also say some people might feel it's a bit edgy for children, but I think it's not really. This is an adult interpretation of what we're looking at. We've got to think of what the child's interpretation would be should they see it. I was pointing out to somebody recently that it's not unusual nowadays in school, in primary school, for children of 4 or 5 to tell you about their boyfriend or their girlfriend, and that will be their level of interpretation of the story. But I don't think that the humour will be lost on it, and I don't think the portrayal of the characters will be lost on them. So without further ado, I'd like to call Dominic, please, from Limerick Writers' Centre to have a word with you.
Good Martin. Agus Staffalter Rose got dinner. I'm delighted to be here tonight at the launch of Michael Lacey's and Lucia Tripepi's book, The Proud Chamber Pot. I'm also delighted that it is through the Limerick Writers' Centre that it was instrumental in being published. And I'd like to thank all those who gave their time, effort, in whatever way to ensure that the book turned out so well. I especially like to thank our book designer, Lot Bender. I think in Limerick, we have since 2008 been developing a vibrant community of writers through our activities of readings, workshops and publications. Mick Lacey has been one of those writers who has come to our gatherings over the past few years, and I can say with conviction that he has been a breath of fresh air, enlivening our events with songs, stories and poems. To get any book published these days is difficult, but it is important that books like Mick's and Lucia's are published, especially as more and more small publishers are being bought out by big media corporations. Ultimately, what this means is that they are in control of what you read. It has also given rise to celebrity-driven publishing by mainstream publishers. So it is a pleasure to have assisted in getting this book out there and available to the reading public. Although it is the 79th title we have published, it is also a first for Limerick Writer Centre, it being a children's book. So this is a special occasion for us also. And the publication of a new book in a different genre coincides very much with what the Limerick Writer Centre tries to do. At the Limerick Writer Centre, our core value is that literature is essential, and we believe in the love of writing, of reading, in the art of writing, and in the power of the literary arts to transform individual lives and communities. We work to advance the artistic development of writers, and we try to foster a thriving literary community. I think that the shortlisting in 2016 of one of our writers, Ron Carey, a poet from the largely working class estate of Ballinanty, for one of the most prestigious literary awards in Ireland and the UK, the Forward Prize, is some evidence of our success in trying to foster an inclusive reading and writing community. And so it is with great pleasure that I welcome Mick and Lucia into the Limerick Writer Centre fold and look forward to many more publications from them. I know that Mick has been contemplating this book for some time, and I know how easily plans can go astray and fizzle out and lose momentum. The journey from the imagination to the page is a private and rarely an easy one. Often that special cargo writers carry gets lost overboard in the rough seas of a turbulent crossing, and you may arrive at your destination without your goods. I like to think that this is where the Limerick Writer Centre comes in, providing a strong, steady ship to carry that precious cargo safely to harbour, safely to publication. That is the work of the Limerick Writer Centre, so let's celebrate that also this evening at the launch of the proud chamber pot. So again, congratulations to Mick and Lucia, and thank you for allowing me to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the publisher Dominic Taylor from Limerick Writer Centre. Very inspiring words, encouraging words. I now call on Dr. Geraldine Mooney Simmie, who's going to say a few words to us, and I just warn you, she's a Clare woman.
So good evening everyone. Tá anna husaram a bheagwibh an seo an iha all-in seo. Congratulations to Mick Lacey and to the Limerick Writer Centre for this fantastic book. It's a great pleasure for me to be invited to speak to you here this evening. I am a Lisdoonvarna woman. I was reared and born in number 3 Tivoli Terrace, just above the church, from a family of 9, and we had 4 bedrooms in the house, and in those 4 bedrooms in September we always had about 20 guests. And I think we ourselves slept in the back house, and in the winter and in the summertime in September, as the guests came through the front of the house, my brothers started sleeping in the turf sheds. So I always remember those chamber pots. So this proud chamber pot that Mick Lacey has written about brings me back to the fun and the glinder and the fun and the crack and the marvellous times people had when they came to the Harvest Festival here in Lisdoonvarna. The first man that would knock on the door, he would be told he was in the double bed and he was in there by the wall. And the second guy that had knocked at the door, he'd be told he was in that bed and he was on the outside. And so on and so forth until they had 20 people shoved into the house. And they all had marvellous fun. And when I was a young girl, and I was listening to all of this and partaking in it, and the music and dancing in the kitchen, Paddy Quinlivan would come in and play, and they'd be set dancing and songs and everything going on. And when all that was going on, I knew there was something very special and magical happening between the people, marvellous crack and fun. But I never really, at the time, really got what that spirit and joy and fun was until obviously in later life. So it is marvellous to get an opportunity to be back in my hometown, to congratulate Mick Lacey and the Limerick Writer Centre here this evening, and to say that when I read the book, I got that great sense of that wonderful crack and spirit when men and women come together of all ages, of all shapes and sizes, and they start looking for love. And they start searching for love, and they start searching for sex, and they start searching for eros and passion and whatever else you're having. And it's just fabulous to see all of that excitement in the book, which can be read by a young child of age 3 or 4 and will still bring a glint in the eye of somebody aged 91 or 94. So it has that fabulous story. But Mick Lacey is a poet. So when a poet writes a book, you have to stand back and you have to say, what else is going on? So there's something else going on in there. And there really is. So everybody will find something different in there. But what I found in it was, I found it an invitation to eros, to get back to our humanity, to get back to our touch, to open the concept of actually, as human beings, to come back in touch with our human family. I could see that we know the world we're living in today is not much in touch with our human family. Our world is full of egocentric people, rationalism, and it's really, really caught up in the idea of rationalism and rational thought. But there is a level beyond that, and the humanity across the world is stuck in a space. So Mick Lacey's book for me has the message of transcending in a scholarly and artistic and illustrated way, of actually transcending into that higher level where we will be able to get back in touch, and in touch with our sensuality, our sexuality, our compassion, and our human feeling for the human family, and for doing something for the wounded people that are living in the world at the moment, that are being cast aside, whether they're migrants or whether they're starving or whether they're homeless or whatever they are. So in that beautiful work of art, I find that intellectual and cultural message of that return to transcend our eros and to get back into the passion and space where we can get in touch again with our humanity. So I leave you with these final words. A great friend of mine growing up in Lisdoonvarna was John O'Donoghue, who wrote Anam Cara and was a philosopher from Fanor who sadly died far too young a few years ago. And John wrote many wonderful poems. And one of his poems from his book Benedictus is to learn from our animal being, he talks about. And it's only 4 or 5 lines, but I'd like to read it for you as a way of finishing. May we learn to return and rest in the beauty of animal being. Learn to lean low, leave our locked minds, and with freed senses, feel the earth breathing with us. Garamila Magwiv.
What a lovely, profound interpretation of the content of Mick's book. I bet you didn't realise you were getting up to all that, Mick, when you were writing that. But I do think that sometimes, unconsciously, we do make very profound statements in the manner in which we present information to people. So I'd like to thank Geraldine very much for that contribution, which is very uplifting. And your friend, the man, the great John O'Donoghue, would have been very much admired by Bertha and myself as well. And anytime we're in Clare, we always visit his grave. It's just a thing we do. I have facilitated humanitarian funeral services where I have used an awful lot of the work of John O'Donoghue, just take out the references to God and stick in the ones to man, and it works perfectly. That shows you what a great humanitarian he is and how much it ties in with the point you were making about the humanitarian content of this work by Mick Lacey, and of course illustrated by Lucia Tripepi. The illustrations too, I meant to say, are very, very revealing, because when you see the illustrations, the characterization of people and the creating of the scenes in which the people are placed are very, very relevant to the text, but in themselves also communicate very effectively with us. Now, after all of that, I'd like to call on a gentleman who is mentioned in this book, who has made his contribution to this festival in Lisdoonvarna for a number of years. The man who advises everybody, don't ask about the man's wage and don't ask about the woman's age. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the world-renowned matchmaker, Willie Daly.
Well now, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lovely introduction and thank you so much. And I'm just looking at the front part of the book here. My God, you know, what an illustration, because that certainly has made me look a lot better looking than I am anyway. If ever I'm getting any more portraits done, I'll get the actor. So I suppose there's some parts of it that has been very brilliant from everyone's point of view. That a beautiful book can be written and with children in mind. But and I suppose that Lisdoonvarna is such a great space, but there's a part of it that I think has, tonight's last speaker, Geraldine, really has kind of, I think it's fantastic, because I think Geraldine would make a great matchmaker in the sense that she said, you know, they had 4 rooms and 20 people inside and then 4 beds or whatever was in it. So I think, Geraldine, you'd probably be a better matchmaker than I am, I think though. And a lot of that is like, as you said, Geraldine, it's about love and romance, and you know, the more the merrier. It sounds like the more the merrier. So anyway, I want to say a special congratulations to Mick and Lucia, and I think the book is brilliant. The pictures are just quite something else, and they're extremely colourful and really lovely. And there was a part of it when Mick said to me some time back, Willie, would you come up and say a few words at the launch of my book? And then at some stage he told me that it was about a chamber pot and a jam pot, and then Peter Curtin's name was mentioned, that Peter could be the matchmaker, and at that time I said, yeah, I think Peter is the matchmaker. But then when I read the book and looked at it, I said, no, I'm the matchmaker there, I said. So I'm not giving Peter any credit, as much credit anyway as he deserves. But the book is lovely, and I think, you know, the concept is brilliant and the colour is great, and I think, you know, it proves that romance can come from all angles and all circles. And I suppose the fact as well that Gypsy Rose was mentioned in it, you know, gypsies, as like other people, have a certain kind of a power, you know, I think, and we would have to give that credit to them. Now I have to my house, a woman comes like with maybe 30 years selling clothes, a lovely person. Now this is actually the truth. So she comes in, she's a little expensive with her clothes. She probably goes to Liscannor as well, I'd say, you know her out there. And she said to me the last time she came about 2 weeks ago, she said, Willie, you've never let me out without buying something for me. I said, I do it for luck, I said. You know, she said, well, that's fair enough. And she's always blessing herself as well. You know, when she'd come in out of this gypsy woman had come in before she'd get back in the van, she'd have herself blessed about 30 times, and some of that would have to rub off on you. So I'm going to sing a little Lisdoonvarna song for you, and it's lovely to see many other people here tonight as well. And again, I just want to say a big congratulations to Michael, Lacey and Lucia. I'll sing the Lisdoonvarna song, it goes like this. Well, I'm off to Lisdoonvarna at the end of the year. I'm off for the bit of crack now, the good-looking girls and the beer. I'm fairly shifty for a man of 60. Catch me if you can, my name is Dan, well, I'm your man. Oh, I'm a Paw Jean from Tullawagee. I've got 1 acre now, 1 acre of land. I'm looking for a honey with a lot of money. Catch me if you can, my name is Dan, for I'm your man. Up she flew. Now I would just like to say again, Geraldine, I must have a chat with you about the 20 people down the 4 beds. Now I definitely have to get to know more about that. So thank you all anyways, and God bless you.
Thank you very much for that contribution, Willie. Sure everybody found it very entertaining and elucidating with regard to events as they take place here in Lisdoonvarna. And of course, now we come to the stage where we'll be calling on the good man himself, Michael Lacey. Also, I would point out that the book is dedicated to his children, O'Day and Porrick. And of course, we all know that behind every successful man, there's always a powerful woman. And they're always very powerful in comic books, Michael. So, congratulations to the whole family, and particularly also to Lucia Tripepi, who would have hoped to be here this evening, but Mick will be able to explain to you that she was indisposed and unable to be here. But we do have Mick, so without further ado, the man of the moment, Mick Lacey.
Thanks, Martine. I'd like to thank Martine for doing the MC tonight, and I'd like to thank Dominic Taylor from the Limerick Writer Centre for his support and encouragement, and indeed organising the publication and the printers of this book. And he's absolutely great, and they provide a great service, community service in Limerick to writers and poets and singers. And our last book was Voices from the Cave, which we had a lot of poets, and that was a huge success. I'd like to thank Geraldine Mooney Simmie for her kind words and her wonderful analysis of our general support in writing this book. And of course, how will I thank the inimitable Willie Daly, who was very much a character in the book. And I'd like to thank Lucia Tripepi, who can't be here tonight. She's the illustrator, the artist, and we met a good few years ago. I go to Cheltenham to the races, we play music, and she sits in the corner drawing pictures of the musicians. And I showed her this story, and she did the illustrations. And Lucia is a wonderful character. Her great-great-granduncle was Luigi Tripepi, Cardinal Luigi Tripepi, and he was the secretary to Pope Leo the VI. And when he died sometime in the 1900s, Luigi was in the conclave looking to be elected Pope. And they're from Calabria, where allegedly the mafia come from. But anyway, it was very warm in August in the conclave in Rome, as you can imagine. And Luigi was quite rotund, he was quite stout, and he got very warm. So he took off his long underpants and he hung them out the window. And the mafia thought that was a tip-off that he was going to be elected. So he got thrown out of the conclave. That's Lucia's uncle. So our next book is going to be about the Saint Luigi Tripepi, the patron saint of jockstraps and sweating underpants. So look forward to that. So basically, how I came to write the story was about 10 years ago. I got married very young. I was only 45, and my son was 11 or 12. And the teacher, Sean O'Hare, gave him a chamber pot and a jam pot, and asked the boys to bring them home to their parents and get them to write a story about it. I wrote the story about it, and that's how the story. But what influenced it very much was the magic of Lisdoonvarna. Lisdoonvarna is a very magical place. It's full of characters. full of devil may care, and the crack is 90. And I tried to, that's basically what I tried to capture, the colourful nature of Lisdoonvarna and the surrounding area, and the people and the crack. And I found it very difficult to write about or capture it, but I felt I tried to capture it in that little book. So, and Willie and Peter, and I'd like to thank Peter Curtin and Kieran for their support and providing the venue and being very supportive indeed. I'd like to thank them for that. I'd like to thank all the musicians. Finally, I'd like to say, there's a saying by, what's his name? Roald Dahl. Watch with glittering eyes the world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. So I'd like to sing you a nice little song written by Walt Disney in a Mickey Mouse 1956 film, and then adapted by Monty Python. It's a kind of an existential song about the meaning of life. So this is: just remember that you're standing on a planet that's revolving at 900 miles an hour. It's orbiting at 90 miles a second, so it's reckoned the sun is the source of all our powers. All the sun and you and me and all the stars that we can see are travelling at 1,000,000 miles a day in an outer spiraling arc of 40,000 miles an hour of a galaxy they call the Milky Way. Oh, the universe itself contains 100 million stars. It's 100,000 light years side by side. It bulges in the middle, 40,000 light years tick by out by us. It's 150,000 light years wide. Oh, it's 60,000 light years from galactic central point. It goes around every 300 million years. And that galaxy is one of millions of billions in this amazing and expanding universe. Oh, the universe itself keeps on expanding and expanding in all of their directions it can whiz. As fast as it can go, the speed of light, 12 million miles a minute, and that's the fastest speed there is. So whenever you're feeling small and insecure, think how amazingly unlikely is your birth, and pray to some intelligent life out there in space, because there's fuck all down here on Earth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mick. You can all see the great creative mind and the imagination of Mick and how entertaining he is. He is a very well-known character at the gatherings in Limerick of the literary groupings, and he's always a fascinatingly entertaining person. Congratulations again, Mick. And now, of course, the important business, we'll have a pause for about 10 minutes so that people can purchase the books and get them signed by Mick, and after that then there'll be much music and merriment for the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.
I'm Jess, that's Stia Wall, and we're going to do 2 original songs. Willie Daly was just talking about the traveller lady there that used to visit him with the clothes, and this first song is about Stephen's grandmother, who was also a traveller. It's called Traveller Girl, Sarah Dorn.
In the days of old, when stories were told and those gypsy pipers played, by the fire's light, in the dead of the night, danced a young girl in a maze. Oh, her heart was true and her eyes were wise, her spirit was wild and free. Here's to those days in the traveller's ways, and here's what she means to me. Her name was Sarah Doran, and the traveller girl was she. She was born and raised outside Wexford town in a time that seems to wait. And at 14 years she married Big John Wall. They had 14 kids, they loved them all. And though times were hard, living hand to mouth, life on the road, north and west, east and south. They were simple days, living in simple ways, tinkering pots and pans and living off the land. I still picture her face in a time and a place as I wake from a wonderful dream. And the smell of the old baked bread fills up my head, and I long for those magical scenes of when I was a boy, the apple of his granny's eye, and she the centre of mine. All the stories you told me never did bore me. I wish I could remember them now. Oh, Sarah, Doran, traveller girl. Sarah, Doran, traveller girl. Sarah, Doran, traveller girl.
Thank you. Thanks for asking us to play, Mick. And the book is brilliant. I read it to my son the other night, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And he's 4 years of age, and he loved it. So it's lovely to be here. And this next song is our last song, because said 4-year-old child needs to get his parents home. So here's our last song, and it's these words, I think. These words.
I left my home with the woman I love. We drive through the city and all the lights are still off. We head for the highway, we're doing it their way. No turning back now, it's a brand new day. These words, these words. I left my home and everyone that I know. To me brothers and sisters, sorry but I must go. Because I can't keep on living the life I was living. And maybe one day you'll all understand. just 'cause I'm not there, it don't mean I don't care. I still love, I still miss you all more than a song can say. But I'm out on my own now, life on their road now, trying to find out just who we could be. These words don't come easy to me, and no, these words never quite what they seem to be. These words don't come easy to me. These words don't come easy to me. No, these words never quite what they seem to be. These words don't come easy to me. There are times I think of it, but it's just I find these words hard to say. But I love every one of you more than any song can say. Congratulations, Mick, Lacey, a mad legend.
See you later, thanks a million. Oh, we'll do one more, sorry. We're stage hoggers, what can I say? We'll just do this last one and then we're away. Sorry.
What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? The whole world's gone nuts, no one gives a fuck. Walking around with their middle fingers up screaming, look, cause they're stuck in a rut, can't find a way out, no one knows what they're about. We break up, make up, put it up on Facebook, wake up. Everybody take a look, get a like and a comment and a share, who cares? Damage that they're doing's go beyond repair. They're killing the water for their sons and their daughters. We're like sheep being led to a slaughter. Pout out your lips, you look good, huh? Take another selfie, have fun. What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? You got social networks and online gaming. Everybody's blaming and naming. Everybody's shaming, broadcast and maiming. Divide and conquer, like that's okay, man. Everybody's tweeting, talking instead of just walking. For the brotherhood of man. You got religions and politicians and neither of them listen. Two corrupt systems fighting for existence. No one ever listens when they shout it out from the rooftops what they're about. Cause they separate the masses, dividing classes. Tell you what to think on all your asses. Fill you with the fear and the shame. You're a slave to the wage and the money make us spend again. White skin, brown skin, yellow skin, black skin. Doesn't really matter, we're the same within. Wake up, everybody wake up, wake up, everybody wake up, wake up, everybody wake up. And listen to your gut, listen to your gut. Cause they feed the war and they start the war and the homeless are dying on our doors. Feed the wars and they start the war and the homeless are dying on our doors. They feed the war, start the war and the homeless are dying on your door. Now that's what's wrong with the world, man. What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, man? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, ma? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, ma? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world, ma? What's wrong with the world? Thanks a million. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks. Good night. Have a good night.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a million there to Steel Wall. Of course, we've had Steel before with his rap poetry at the Bell Table in Limerick, and a very fine performer there, and also Jacinta Kerwin, well-known actress. So a very, very nice combination there, and lovely statements and good, strong statements made about life, living, our origins, the conflicts that we live with, and where we're all going. I particularly liked the Sarah Doran song, and also Steel has launched a very, very good album called Where I'm From. So for everybody, Steel Wall and Jacinta Kerwin. And now, I think the next person on the list is Padder Sax, better known Padder Tumulty. So we'll invite him on stage. This great instrumentalist will surely mesmerize everybody who's listening to him this evening. So without further ado, I'll invite you on stage and we can say a few words after. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I want to say thanks very much to Mick, who has been a wonderful friend for quite a while, and my girlfriend read the book to me last night. I have to say I felt like a child. It was kind of a bit of a wonderland listening to it. It was just absolutely beautiful. God bless you, Mick. Thanks very much for your friendship, and the book is just fabulous.
So softly she came.
hear it now, guys? When I lived in Ballyfermot, child and a boy, through all my rows and troubles, still my mother's pride and joy. I worked for a veggie man, a man called Lucky Dan, who sold his aging horse and car to buy a high-ace fan. On a Monday morning, when the washing's on the line, you know the rent man's coming for they get it in time. I am another working man, children I am blessed, but it's hard to go to a pawn shop with only a string vest. The hell to every Dublin man, wherever he may roam, from the Bay of Table Mountain to the Shannon by Athlone, from Dorset Street and Gardner Street, round the Gloucester Diamond, where he has a house in Ballier, and it's very hard to find it. Yeah. Oh, some of us out here, they call us runner in. There's Murphy and Maguire, and they've even got a Flynn. More they called us mulchies, straight from the Longford bogs, living over on the park side with a race horse and dogs. And in the month of January, when the Liffey is clean, I cross by Chapel Lizard to hear what I have seen. I then have a couple of pints up in the strawberry beds, and with my Sunday Walkman on, I listen to Talking Heads. The hell to every Dublin man, wherever he may roam, from the Bay of Table Mountain to the Shannon by Athlone, from Dorset Street and Gardner Street, round the Gloucester Diamond, for they have a house in Ballier, and it's very hard to find it. Oh, you heard of Biddy Mulligan, the pride of the Coombe, Southern Patrick's Street corner by the rising of the moon, where she met with Napper Tandy as she stood there by her stall, and they both went off together to the Jarran Taylor's Hall. And out in Ballyfermot, there's many the famous face, Liam Weldon and the Furies, and Mick O'Neill the race, where you see the kids on Sunday, dressed up like a treat, for they're off to see their granny, what lives in Thomas Street. The hell to every Dublin man, wherever he may roam, from the Bay of Table Mountain to the Shannon by Athlone, from Dorset Street and Gardner Street, round the Gloucester Diamond, for he has a house in Ballier, and it's very hard to find it. And our heroines and our heroes fought long ago, standing up to claim our destiny outside the GPO. Oh, farewell and the Liffey, I never can forget it, though I may stray far, far away from good old Ballyfermot. Hell to every Dublin man, wherever he may roam, from the Bay of Table Mountain to the Shannon by Athlone, from Dorset Street and Gardner Street, round the Gloucester Diamond, for he has a house in Ballier, and it's very hard to find it. There you are.
Very good.
But the lads down in Dublin, they all did change the lyrics to "Here the hell do every countryman." Yeah, that way they were doing it. Please. Something to wet the whistle there. Like,
Start it. Something to wet the whistle there.
What?
Oh, couldn't be able to sing Liscannor Bay now. We didn't get a mouthful of the queer stuff here. It's home brew. Made in the... I couldn't find any batteries for my guitar pickup there in town, so I went to the first bar place and he said, we're sold out. So I went up to Jordan's and I managed to get some, and I said to your man, no batteries. No, the batteries, we're not going to sex toys in town. All the batteries were gone in the shops.
He's hilarious.
Well, quick thinking, that was...
I think there's a song in that for them as well.
I'll do one more, then I'll do, get me throat going, and I'll do Liscannor Bay, then finish my brains off.
Lovely.
This is all about the rogue trader, Nielsen, who ended up looking after the Galway soccer team. When we were out in Singapore in 1996, Enda Kenny was made free man of the city. Yeah, I was there for all that. This poor guy was in a lane on the mat over in Chang jail. Chang means elephant, by the way. Anyway, so I wrote the song because they broke his heart, they broke his marriage, and I didn't care for that side of it. The Chinese had the extra 2 numbers, he only had 4. Then they gave a lecture about economics in Singapore, made free man of the city. The next day, the whole of Asia money collapsed. Wow, that's not real, baby. Look at this, but right down. Laid on the map in old Singapore, the 100 cats and old Lahore. I took a flight to New Orleans, and I arrived in LA like a Mexican bean. For I'm out on the highway of excess, still holding on to the sweet smell of success. Send your love down the phone, bird. Send your love down the phone. Send your love down the phone, bird. Send your love down the phone. Send your love down the phone, baby. I'm a long, long way from that home. Silver is silver, and gold is gold. Diamonds are diamonds, to have and to hold. A nickel's a nickel, a dime's a dime. When lonesome comes calling, could you spare some time? Send your love down the phone, bird. Send your love down the phone. Send your love down the phone, babe. Send your love down the phone. Send your love down the phone, babe. I'm a long, long way from that home. Yes, I live in that match in old Singapore, the 100 cash and old Lahore. I took a flight to New Orleans, and I arrived in LA like a Mexican bean. For I'm out on the highway of excess, still holding on to the sweet smell of success. Send your love down the phone, bird. Send your love down the phone. Send your love down the phone, babe. Send your love down the phone. Send your love down the phone, babe. I'm a long, long way from that home. Liscannor Bay now when I've got the spread. You forgive me and I'll make a run for the I call it Suicide Ridge where I live up there in Lockhaven. You look out my window, you can see the ridge. Oh yeah, okay, and you can see the ridge, and then you say to yourself, if I can make it to the top of the hill, I'll surely change my mind and I won't do it. I'm telling you. I know I carried her with my father in London. He was a taxi driver, and he used to go out to Lucia, which was you Garrett Brown's place, the Guinness, and they all give you a big bottle of big balls of brandy. They're called balls of brandy, big round glasses. The man got as drunk as a skunk on you with the driver, and he tried to commit suicide and drive over the top of Lucia Mountain. Ever since that, the taxi driver was called Lucia. This is London Northwest too. I just been requested. This is a song of the mighty Irishmen who built London. Worked upon the motorway for 5 long years or more. I've driven a 10-ton cab till my hands were blistered sore. I rise up each morning, there is no mountain too. I curse my luck on board a truck leaving London Northwest too. For we're immigrants paying double rent from Hammersmith down to Kew. Camden Town for the rough lie down, and Cricklewood I'll bid you adieu. I've worked upon the motorways, I go down so tall. I lived the life of Riley when the wages were not small. A long distance traveller sees a lot before he's through. While he stays healthy, leaving London Northwest too. For we're immigrants, paying double rents from Hammersmith down to Kew. Camden Town for the rough lie down, Cricklewood I'll bid you adieu. I helped to the gallant Irishmen who left the native shore. And if they shoveled gravel or grit, may they shovel it no more. Raise a glass to him, the darky Finn, who waved goodbye at Crewe. Though heaven bent time he spent in London Northwest too. For we're immigrants, paying double rents from Hammersmith down to Kew. Camden Town for the rough lie down, Cricklewood I'll bid you adieu. Now that road is finished, I'm living on the dole. I rise up each morning, I hear the big wheels roll. The man who drives the 10-ton truck will never think of you. When times are bad, pack the bag, leave London Northwest too. For we're immigrants, paying double rents from Hammersmith down to Kew. Camden Town for the rough lie down, and Cricklewood I'll bid you adieu. Oh, Cricklewood I'll bid you adieu. Close to the mark.
Another one we're going to have to write. Yeah.
Because I didn't invest myself in a shovel, in it. I gave the shovel up back on the guitar instead.
He'd be great down in the pub in Limerick.
Fantastic, yeah,
He's so entertaining.
That's not real porter, by the way. That's like the false porter. No, false news, false everything, you know. So I'm finishing out now with Liscannor Bay for all you people. With that song, I'm sitting on the top of the hill looking down, I see the full moon going across that mountain and I get fangs out straight away. No one is safe. They're not safe, especially around Corafin. Whoa, it'll really go in the bad. They'll really get a highway out there dropping down. Me and the vampire. You know about the vampire in Corafin, 1720? I'm sure some of you have heard about him anyway. Peter Cusson must have got the story there as well. But I'll go over a lovely Liscannor Bay. Old folks had a good life, sitting in the fire, looking at the flames. Maggie said to John, "Oh, we're still in love, Maggie. The gorgeous flame that is." Stars out to play love on a spring fairy night. The call of the curlew, all the will-o-wisp light. The sounds of the sea break on emerald spray in sunset or moonbeam on Liscannor Bay. You that I love, dear, my only desire, to be our own company, watch the flames in the fire. You that I love, dear, with you I will stay, while mellow the light shines on Liscannor Bay. The field of our childhood, still fresh as the day, when I first saw you playing by the small cocks of hay. The friends and the neighbors stood watching on by. Your laughter went ringing to the larks in the sky. You that I love, dear, my only desire, to be our own company, watch the flames in the fire. You that I love, dear, with you I will stay, while mellow the light shines on Liscannor Bay. Oh, but time rolls along, love, never you mind. The breeze from the ocean can be gentle, kind. Each song from your heart, dear, carries me there to the dewdrops and roses by a cottage in Clare. You that I love, dear, my only desire, to be our own company, watch the flames in the fire. You that I love, dear, with you I will stay, while mellow the light shines on Liscannor Bay. While mellow the light shines on Liscannor Bay.
As soon as we're here, we disappear like dragonflies. Their miracle bloom can never tell you how it came to be. Each different kind, accidental designed for you and me. Here we ask for all of our lives, and maybe there's no why. As soon as we're here, we disappear like dragonflies. How can something so fragile leave us helpless? We all feel helpless once in a while. How can something so fragile leave us humble? We all feel humble once in a while. Though nature can sing such beautiful wings, did you think of us? While each of us knows in our hearts we must go, that's what beauty is. Just like a dream you were in, dissolved in the morning sky. As soon as we're here, we disappear like dragonflies. How can something so fragile leave us humble? We all feel hunger once in a while. How can something so fragile leave us helpless? We all feel helpless once in a while. Although nature can sing such beautiful wings, did you think of this? And each of us knows that our hearts we must go, that's what beauty is. Just like a dream you were in, dissolved in the morning sky. As soon as we're here, we disappear like dragonflies. As soon as we're here, we disappear like dragonflies. As soon as we're here. As soon as we're here, we disappear like dragonflies. This is a song by Richard Thompson. This old house is falling down around my ears.
skies are living on a bonnet. Those mighty cedars bleeding in the heat. They show their pictures on the television. Women and children dying in the street. Now we're still at it in our own place, still trying to reach the future through the past, still trying to carve tomorrow from a tombstone. But hey, don't listen to me, this wasn't meant to be no sad song. We've had too much of that before. Right now I only want to be here with you till the morning dew comes falling. I want to take you to the island and trace your footprints in the sand. In the evening, when there's no one around, we'll make love to the sound of the ocean. They're raising banners over by the markets, whitewashing slogans of the shipyard walls. Witch doctors praying for a mighty showdown. No way our holy flag is gonna fall. Up here we sacrifice our children to feed the worn out dreams of yesterday, and teach them dying will lead us into glory. But hey, don't listen to me, this wasn't meant to be no sad song. We've had too much of that before. Right now I only want to be here with you till the morning dew comes falling. I want to take you to the island and trace your footprints in the sand. And in the evening, when there's no one around, we'll make love to the sound of the ocean. Now us plain folks don't see all this story. This peace and love's just popping out. I guess those young guys dying in the ditches is what being free is all about. This twisted wreckage down on Main Street will bring us all together in the end, and we'll go marching down that road to freedom, to freedom.
I'm a true-born Irishman. I cannot deny what I am. I was born in the sweet Tipperary town, 3,000 miles away. The rainy boys will ring. No more do I wish for to roam. The sunlit will shine in the harvest time.
it's very good for somebody who pays.
Now the girls begin to see. They take you by the hand, say me home agree, will you come with me to welcome the stranger home? Hooray, boys, hooray! No more do I wish for to roam, till the sun it will shine in harvest time to welcome her Paddy home. Strangers came, they spread all over our land, the horse and the cow, the pig, goat and sow, fell into the stranger's hands. Hooray, boys, hooray! One more do I wish for to roam, till the sun it will shine in harvest time to welcome her Paddy home. Now the Scots can boast of their thistle, the English can boast of their rose, and Paddy can boast of the sweet humble pie, where the little ocean rock grows. And hooray, big boys, hooray! No more do I wish for to roam, the sun will shine in harvest time to welcome my Paddy home. Yes, it's hooray, big boys, hooray! No more do I wish for to roam, the sun will shine in harvest time to welcome my Paddy home. To welcome my Paddy home.
Reverb on it.
Like, if you were familiar with the board, it's very simple. But when it's
Bit of rock and roll for you. Mary, Mary, dressed in black, silver button all down the back. I hold tiptoes. She got the needle and she can sew. Walking that dog, just a walking that dog. And if you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, see how that garden grows. Silver bells and autumn shells, pretty maids all in a row, just a walking that dog, just a walking that dog. And if you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog. Just a walking, just a walking, just a walking, just a walking. And if you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog. Oh, oh.
gonna throw 15 cents. Save an elephant from the fence. He jumps so high and he kissed the sky. And coming back to the 4th of July, walking alone. Just go walking that long. If you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog. Just a walking. Just a walking. Yeah, just a walking. Just a walking. And if you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog. Silver buttons all down her back. I holds to the toes. She got the needle and she can sew. Walking the dog. Just walking that dog. If you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog. If you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog. And if you don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk that dog.